Give us my chol, give us my chol, give us my chol, give a smile. Give us my chol, give us my chol, be the reason someone smiles. Give us my chol, give us my chol, give us my chol, give a smile. Give us my chol, give us my chol, be the reason someone smiles. Give us my chol, give us my chol, give us my chol, give a smile. Give us my chol, give us my chol, be the reason someone smile. Give us my chol, give us my chol, give us my chol, give a smile. Give us my chol, give us my chol, be the reason someone smiles. Siva gedola, liyo liyo besimcha. Siva gedola, liyo liyo besimcha. Siva gedola, liyo liyo besimcha. Siva gedola, liyo besimcha. Siva gedola, liyo 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 besimcha. Be the reason someone smiles. 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 Siva gedola, liyo besimcha. Siva gedola, liyo liyo besimcha. Siva gedola, liyo liyo besimcha. Siva gedola, liyo besimcha. Someone smile. Be the reason someone smile. Be the reason someone smiles. Be the reason someone smiles. Be the reason someone smiles.
Breakfast with Elli.
Mode ani lefanecha melech chai vekayam shechezarta bi nishmati bechemla raba emunatecha.
לא היה מבדיל בין קודש לחול.
one of the secret Chabad tricks to figuring out if somebody's Jewish without offending them is you say shalom. And everyone says shalom back. And they're like, oh, you're Jewish? And they're like, no. And then that's it. How are we doing? Doing good? How's your day today? You all ready for Passover?
No,
No, why not?
because I'm not Jewish.
You ready for the holiness? It affects everyone. Have a good day. Hashem sent that guy to lead us here because we have the wrong address.
That's right.
Let's see. Outside maybe?
Never seen that. Right?
They want to see if they're Jewish. There's always that feeling when you walk behind someone into a building and they open the door for you and they feel like they just let in the terrorists, but they can't do anything because it's not polite to tell them not to come in. I'm always like, oh, don't worry, I'm just going to drop a few boxes here and run.
Good morning and welcome to Breakfast with Elli, Season 8, episode 137. Today is Sunday, the 25th day of Nissan, the 12th day of April, the 10th day of the Omer, and the Torah portion is changed. Finally, it is Tazria-Metzora. We're going to learn all about that today. It's fascinating. And it's a double portion, 2 portions combined. HaYom, Yom Rishon Shabbos, the first day counting up towards Shabbos, be learning the first Aliyah. Good morning, how are you? Good Tvach Shavua Tov, a good week. I hope that your Pesach and your Shabbos were absolutely amazing. Everything you wanted them to be, everything you needed them to be, and that Hashem gave you everything that you required to be happy, healthy, and wise. Good morning. How are you? How is your Shabbos? You want to tell me about it? You can talk to me about it in the comments. I'm always open and ready to hear all about your wonderful, wonderful Shabbos escapades. You let me know if you had anything fun, if you did anything fun, if you went anywhere fun, although you shouldn't have gone anywhere on Shabbos other than, a neighbor's house or something like that. Oops, we hit the wrong button. All right, let's start our morning davening. Men and boys, take you 2 front sitzes. Everyone else join us in the second bracha. And yes, the parsha is Tazria-Metzora, as you see on the screen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al mitzvat tzitzit. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netilat yadayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher yatzar et ha'adam b'chokhma uvaravo nekavim nekavim chalulim chalulim galui v'yadua lifnei chisei Chevodecha she'im yisatem echad mehem o im yipateach echad mehem אי אפשר להתקיים אפילו שעה אחת ברוך אתה אדוני רופא כל בשר ומפליא לעשות. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו על דברי תורה. הריני מקבל עלי מצוות עשה של ואהבת לרעך כמוך. I take upon myself every single day to love my fellow friend in a very special way.
Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe, Morasha kehilas Yaakov, Morasha kehilas Yaakov, Morasha kehilas Yaakov, Torah tziva lanu Moshe.
I put it in the pushki that's a darker box. I put it in the pushki that's a darker box. I put it in the pushki for someone else to keep.
All right, time to give tzedakah.
Pushki that's a darker box. I put it in the pushki that's a darker box. I put it in the pushki for someone else in need.
I dropped it. It's okay. I'll get it in a minute. All right, fantastic. Tzedakah has been given, and that takes us to the saying of the Shema. Here we go. Right hand over your eyes.
מה אתה רוצה שנגיד עכשיו? ברכה הזאת עוזרת לך? איך היא עוזרת לך? וזה עוזר לך, נכון? נגיד את זה עוד פעם? כן? אז תחזור אחריי. שים ככה, האצבעות. תגיד, שמה ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד.
ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
All right, and now we have come to breakfast. Coffee and yogurt. We're making a bracha shahakol. If you're making a different bracha, they're right over here, right here, pointing down. Okay. All right, we are going to make the bracha shahakol. Baruch ato Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shahakol nihiyah bidvarai.
Coffee, blessed coffee. God bless you for being a friend. When the whole world turns on me, it's only you on which I can depend. I want to taste you in the morning and a few times throughout the day. Yes, a cup or two in the evening too. For me, it's the only way. Yeah.
Delicious vanilla yogurt with that 0 calorie, 0 sugar caramel sweetener in it. Absolutely amazing combination. All right. Today in Jewish history. Let us not forget that on Pesach we started saying Morid Hatal and V'sein Bracha. Morid Hatal u'V'sein Bracha. And there's a reminder here that's on the screen. The whole program, you should be able to see it. There it is. All right. Actually, I should change these, right? Put this one over here because this is where it's going to be permanently. And this one is temporary. All right. Fantastic. All right, so today in Jewish history, what happened? Well, in Krakow in 1464, there were riots, and 30 Jews were killed in these riots. Hashem should avenge their blood. The Chumash with Yiddish translation was published in Cremona, Italy in 1570. All civic limitations that were imposed on the Jews of the German Empire were lifted in 1871, which brought medieval anti-Semitism to a conclusion. But 10 years later, almost to the day, Germany opened a new epoch of modern anti-Semitism, and that was on the 26th of Nissan in 1881. It is the yahrzeit of the Sanzer Rebbe, Reb Chaim Halberstam, the Rebbe of Sanz, Poland, and the founder of the Sanz Hasidic dynasty. His halachic responsa and Torah expositions were published under the name Divrei Chaim. He passed away in the year 5636 or 1876 on the secular calendar. An embargo went into effect on the property of Austrian Jews in 1938, and the trial of Adolf Eichmann on charges of genocide opened in Jerusalem on this day in 1961 rather, and we all know how the outcome of that was. We are counting 10 days to the Omer. Tonight we do one more. And we'll do that in just a minute. Actually, we can start to do that right now. Here we go on today's Sphera.
49 days to count the Omer. After it's dark, Mark, at the end of my read, Steve, do it in shul, shmuel, just count with me. Look for the stars, Tamar, just be sure to make the bracha. Erev is the key, Tzvi, count Sphera with me.
All right, are you ready? We shall start counting right now. Get ready to go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushonu b'mitzvoso v'tzivonu al tfilas ha'omer.
coming.
HaYom, 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 10 yomim, Shem Shavua, U'shloisha yomim ba'omer.
Uspartem lochem, mi mocharas ha-Shabbos, mi yoim aviachem, esoy merat nufo.
Sheva Shabbosois, Sheva Shabbosois, Sheva Shabbosois, temi moistieno. Sheva Shabbosois, Sheva Shabbosois, Sheva Shabbosois, temi moistieno.
Make each moment count, let your soul shine. Do all you can to connect to the divine. Each moment is a gift, each moment is so dear. Yidin chaparai, Mashiach's almost here.
Yidin chaparai, Mashiach's almost here.
Yidin chaparai, Mashiach's almost here.
Kabbalas ha-Torah, besimcha ubepnimius.
Okay. Cute song. Yoey Muchnick. All right. Harachmanu yachzir lanu avodas beis hamikdash l'mkema b'mheirav yameinu amen sela. May the Holy One, blessed be He, the Merciful One, blessed be He, return to us the service of the Holy Temple speedily in our days, and we let us say, there you go. HaYom Yom for today, the 25th day of Nissan.
היום הזה הוא זמן שמחתנו, שמע את התפילה שבליבנו, ותמחול את כל עוונותינו ביום הזה.
HaYom Yom, thoughts of the day, 25th of Nissan. If you do a job poorly enough, they won't ask you to do it again. Do we underestimate our capacities and hide behind a false veil of humility so less is asked of us? Thinking that if we feign incompetence, no one will be annoyed at our failures, set the bar low and they'll never be disappointed. And then we can hide away from expectations. Don't be that guy who fakes humility as an excuse to avoid responsibility. The Rebbe's message is all hands on deck. Everyone has to participate. Commit yourself to polishing gems, and you'll discover your inner jewel.
Every once in a while, it's important to take a step back and take stock of your accomplishments. But how do you gauge your own personal success or failure? Today's HaYom Yom says the following: your avodah, your service of Hashem, must reflect your personal nature and your capabilities. If somebody who is capable of working with pearls and polishing precious gems decides instead to join the staff at a bakery and bake bread, that's just a shame. Hospitals need to be very clean. That's critical for the health of the patients. But if a highly skilled surgeon decides that for a couple of weeks he's going to stop doing surgery and instead join the maintenance staff and work on cleaning the hospital, that surgeon's not doing justice to himself and anybody around him, and it's just a sin is being committed to those patients who the surgeon could be helping. So if you want to be able to truly gauge your success, the only way to do that is to answer the question, am I truly realizing my own potential?
Are you? And now a word from our sponsors. Then we'll learn some Torah. And now a word from our sponsors. PestProRidol.com.
PestProRidol.com, trusted by the best to keep away the pests. We are offering COVID-19 disinfection services. Mention this ad and get 1 month free service. Visit us at PestProRidol.com.
Tarzane Group, micro, miniature, and small orchids. Go to TarzaneGroup.com or call Tomas at 305-440-0565. That's 305-440-0565 and order today. Visit Tomas and Yair at TarzaneGroup.com. Micro, miniature, and small orchids, beautiful in your home. Go to the website and read Tomas's orchid blog. And by Dina D Design. DinaDDesign at gmail.com. Fine artwork, custom made to your specifications, logos, wall hangings, Judaica, and you can even have something for your child's room. Dina D Designs. Go to her Facebook or Instagram or call or text. Thank you very much to our sponsors. If you'd like to become a sponsor, please go right up here to where it says patreon.com/theactorsrabbi, and you can contribute even only $1 a month if you'd like, but that'll help us bring this broadcast to you on a daily basis and cover our expenses. Be sure to thank your sponsors when shopping and mention Breakfast with Elli when you're shopping there. There might be discounts. Thanks for watching.
Helping lots of people any way we can. Tzedakah is the Jewish way to help your fellow man.
All right, if you would like to be giving tzedakah and helping out people learn Torah all over the world, all you have to do is scan this QR code or go to breakfastwithelli.live/support. It will take you to a portal where you can donate, giving tzedakah and helping bring Torah all around the world. You get so many mitzvahs from this. It's wonderful, wonderful. All right, let's learn some Torah. All right, as we said, we have a combined parsha this week, Tazria and Metzora. Parsha begins, however, Ki Tazria Isha, if a woman conceives and gives birth. After discussing laws with childbirth, the parsha then deals with the supernatural disease called tsaras, which afflicted the skin and possessions of people who spoke lashon hara, gossip. Now, tsaras is generally widely translated as leprosy, but it's not. It's a biblical disease, a special supernatural disease that one got when they spoke lashon hara in those days. We don't get tsaras anymore. Since the vast majority of the parsha deals with the laws of tsaras, we need to explain the connection between this affliction and the name of the parsha, Tazria, which refers to conception and birth, and Metzora, if one becomes a Metzora, someone afflicted with tsaras. At first glance, they seem to be contradictory things. Tsaras is an unpleasant condition which requires total isolation from the Jewish camp, such that the Talmud states the tsaras sufferer is compared to a dead person. Now, how is this connected with the Tazria concept and birth? Well, a fundamental principle of Jewish philosophy states that punishment administered by the Torah is not intended to harm a person in return for the harm he caused, but rather the punishment is primarily for the benefit of the transgressor themselves. This is because suffering caused by punishment cleanses the soul, allowing it to become close to Hashem again, either in this world or the next. In most cases, the goodness within a punishment is not apparent to an onlooker or to the sufferer themselves. With the tsaras, it's clear that his punishment is actually for his own benefit. For by being declared ritually impure, requiring total isolation, a person with tsaras soon learns not to speak lashon hara anymore, since there's practically no one to speak with him since he's been isolated. So, from the case of the tsaras sufferer, we understand that in all other cases too, even when it's less apparent, the Torah's punishments are simply aimed at helping the sufferer correct their ways and begin a new life, corrected of the former fault. And this is why our parsha is called Tazria-Metzora, alluding to conception and birth, teaching us that just like the case of the person suffering tsaras, all punishments of Torah all punishments of the Torah are intended to help a person have a spiritual rebirth and correct their past ways and start a new life. Wow, absolutely fantastic. All right, hold on one second. I just got to put this down. It's going to have another sip of coffee, but I think I'm good. I think I'm good. All right, hold on one second. Let me grab this really quick because I'm going to need this in a little while. Yes, much better. What these computers can do today. Absolutely amazing. All right, in the first Aliyah, remember, the bulk of this week's Torah portion discusses the various forms of tsaras, the skin maladies which are contracted by engaging in forbidden gossip. Also discussed are garment discolorations, which constitute a clothing tsaras, and the symptoms and laws of house tsaras, indicated by certain stone discolorations. Following is a discussion of various ritual impurities, including the laws of a menstruating woman and the mitzvah to separate at that time of the month. In the first Aliyah, the Jewish people are instructed regarding the ritual impurity contracted by a woman who gives birth. Now, the time frame of this period of impurity differs depending on whether the child is a boy or a girl. At the conclusion of this period, a woman who immerses in a mikvah is required to bring certain sacrifices, offerings to the temple. And incidentally, the Torah mentions the obligations to circumcise a male child on the 8th day of his life. Torah then begins discussing the laws of tsaras, which renders a person ritually impure. It's a skin discoloration, inaccurately translated as leprosy. The Aliyah discusses various forms of white skin discolorations, and a person who has the symptom of tsaras must be seen by a Kohen. If the discoloration is deemed suspicious, the Kohen will immediately declare the individual impure or quarantine him for up to 2 weeks. At the conclusion of the quarantine period, the priest either declares the individual pure or impure. Torah then discusses what's done in the event that the tsaras spreads after the individual was declared pure, or if there's a rare raw skin with the tsaras, or if the tsaras has spread over the entire body. We learn the laws of tsaras, which appears following an inflammation on the skin. And we'll go now to Rabbi Ofson and hear what he says. It's a big conversation. I'm only going to play you a part of it, so get ready.
Jewish audio on Chabad.org.
So now we go into the parsha of Tazria, which talks about very interesting, some things might feel a bit abstract, but very interesting law and insight. So let's start from the beginning. The beginning is very, very relatable. Hashem speaks to Moshe and says, "Speak to the Israelites and say, let's return to the laws of ritual defilement. We'll now discuss the way in which the human body becomes a source of ritual defilement. If a woman miscarries, even a dissolved fetus, and all the more so a fully formed fetus, or successfully gives birth, please God, to a male child, she becomes ritually defiled and remains so for 7 days. Specifically, she becomes ritually defiled to the same degree as she does during her nida, during her menstrual flow, as will be explained later, even if she did not bleed during the birth. On the 8th day after the birth of the viable boy, the flesh of his foreskin must be circumcised. He must have a bris. Although Hashem commanded it to Avraham years ago, now it's being told to the Jewish people after Sinai, and it's becoming one of the 613 mitzvot. She must immerse herself in a mikvah after 7 full days have passed since she gave birth. This immersion purifies her from the ritual defilement caused by the birth. For the following 33 days, she will remain in a transitional state, during which defilement by bleeding is deferred. And her uterine blood is therefore not a source of defilement should she bleed. After the 40th day from birth, uterine bleeding will once again ritually defile her, as we will explain. Normally, once somebody went to the mikveh in order to purify themselves of ritual defilement, they're permitted to eat truma, holy food, after nightfall, if they're a Kohen or a qualified member of the household, and permitted to eat sacrificial meat, enter the tabernacle, etc. In the case of a woman who gave a birth to a boy, these cutoff points are delayed. She may not eat any consecrated food, nor may she enter the sanctuary until 40 days of her purification from this form of ritual defilement, and it's until the full purification has been completed. Thus, she may only eat truma after the nightfall following the 40th day. Now, what about a female child? If she gives birth to a female child, she becomes ritually defiled to the same degree as she does during the menstruation period and remains so for 2 weeks instead of 1. She must immerse herself in the mikveh after these 2 weeks have passed. This immersion purifies her from the ritual defilement caused by the birth. And the transitional period as well is twice that of a woman who gives birth to a boy. She remains in the state for 66 additional days, which is a total of 14 plus 66, 80th day. And she may only eat the sacrificial meat and truma after the 80th day. Interesting, the Torah does not give a reason why a girl is different than a boy. Some commentaries say because there's more bleeding when there is the birth of a female. For example, the Sforno says that. When the period of the purification has been completed, whether 40 days for a son or 80 days for a daughter, then the following morning, the 41st or 81st day, respectively, she must bring in a sheep in its first year as an offering, and a young pigeon or turtle dove as a sin offering to the entrance of the Mishkan, give them to the priest. Although she's committed no sin by giving birth, she's nevertheless required to bring a sin offering in order that the birth contribute towards the eventual full atonement for Eve, for Chava's sin of having eaten the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Part of the corrective punishment for which was that childbirth is painful. The priest must offer up the sin offering before Hashem, and then that affects atonement for her. And now she may be able to be purified and eat whatever she needs to be eat. If she cannot afford a sheep for the sin offering, she may instead bring 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons. One is an ascent offering, one is a sin offering, and the priest must first effect atonement for her through the sin offering, and she will thus be rid of defilement.
All right. Parsha Points with Rabbi Epstein is next.
Parsha Points Tazria for Sunday. Behind every great man is the exact kitchen drawer you need access to. When the woman, who was created from man, produces, she brings mitzvahs into the world. Those have staying power. As long as we're in Gullus, it's very male-dominated. Constant struggle with the world. Every victory is hard-fought and still only temporary. When the feminine character is prominent, the consequences are everlasting.
I didn't expect Kala to hit me this hard this week. Really, after Pesach, just seeing Kala back on the table again felt big. And this week is also Yom HaShoah, so I've been thinking a lot about how the smallest thing can carry the biggest memory. Then I learned this week's Parsha, Tazria-Metzora. And what surprised me is how much the Torah pays attention to little things, small signs, small details. even the words that come out of my mouth. And I started thinking, maybe small things are not small at all. Maybe one word matters. Maybe one memory matters. Maybe one act matters. And definitely one person matters. That's what I'm taking with me into this week, to notice the small things more carefully, because sometimes they carry the most. Torah brings so much simcha. Have a detailed week and Shabbat Shalom.
Welcome back to another week of Shnai Yomi, Parshas Tazria-Metzora Rishon. This parsha focuses on the Tumah caused by people, such as childbirth, and then focusing mainly on the Tumah of Tzaras and how to be purified from that. The first Rashi in Parshas Tazria explains the progression of Parshas Tazria from Parshas Shmini. At the end of Parshas Shmini, we left off talking about the status of animals, which ones are kosher, which ones can be eaten, and which ones are tomei and may not be eaten. Says Rashi, quoting from Vayikra Rabbah, Kashem she'itziroso shel adam, just like the itzira of a person, achar kol behema chaya v'oif, came after the creation of all animals by Ma'aseh Bereshis, kach toiroso nisparsha, so too the Torah of man is explained after Torah's behema chaya v'oif. So since animals were created first, followed by people, so we say the Torah of the animals, followed by the Torah of people, which begs the question, why then is it the Torah of Torah specifically, which follows the Torah of the animals? There are so many other parts of Torah relevant to mankind, which could follow the Torah of the animals, if indeed man is so lowly as to come after the animals. The s8e explains that the word used by the Medrash is Yetzira. Yetzira, as opposed to Bria, is a word referring to the physical creation of mankind. The physical creation of mankind is what came after the animals. The spiritual component of a human being, that actually came before the animals. Says the s8e, it's specifically the Tumah of Tzaras, which comes from a person blindly following his instincts and his desires and acting purely physical way. That's the type of person, and that's the Torah that needs to follow the animals. When a person acts like that, he's demoted to a position after that of the animals, and that's the Torah that follows the animals. Whereas the Torah of mankind, the ability to be mavchin, ben kodesh l'choil, between good and bad, that's actually a pasuk before the halachas of Bei Metzmer, where it says in Parashas Shmini, lahavdil ben hakodesh ben hachoil ben hatomei ben hatoir. That's the spiritual element of man, learning the Torah, following the Torah. That's the element of man that comes before the animals.
All right. We've got Michael Kigel for you today.
Should religious Jews revolt against secular governments?
Against governments? Jews should revolt against religion.
Right, because religion is the opiate of the masses.
Yes, correct. Religion is what maintains the masses in a state of delusion, out of touch with reality, like opium.
Got it, okay, but let's just say as a theoretical exercise, what if the government were the force of manufacturing consent? What if the government were the opiate of the masses and religion were the rehabilitation from the opium addiction?
Что? Не понимаю. I don't understand. Religion is the opiate...
Opiate of the masses. Yes, I got it. But listen, John.
My name is Vladimir.
Right, sorry, of course. I got mixed up there. Never mind. Yes, of course, Vlad. Look, you're a philosopher. Your little treatise, State and Revolution, what a page-turner. I'm asking as a philosophical exercise, what if the Torah embodied the truest system of thought?
Well, I suppose that according to archi-Hegelian historical archi-dialectic, that the Torah is the original system of social concernment, love your neighbor and so on.
Great, perfect. Thanks for playing along, Vlad.
For theoretical purposes.
So, theoretically, let's say the Torah embodies the truth, and Jews who live according to the truths of the Torah find themselves living in a secular state, a state that in some ways contradicts and frustrates the ways of the Torah. What are the options?
Well, clearly, in such an oppressive socio-pedagogical situation, the Torah Jew should organize a popular revolt. And after all, according to the great archi-socialist prophets, Isaiah and so on, this is the so-called Messianic era, a new political era.
Nice, okay, I like it. And by the way, Vlad, you may find it interesting that in the Talmud, the sage Rabbi Yitzchak says that Mashiach will only arrive when every government becomes heretical, which is to say that the new political era will dawn when every government opposes the Torah.
What? There it is. The government is heretical. It opposes the will of the people. Perhaps some of the people don't even see the heresies. The government has pulled the wolf over their eyes, manufacturing consent. Yes, opposition to such a government is the only realistic option for expose of the heresies, for manifestation of the truth.
I hear you. And it may well be that Rabbi Yitzchak would have agreed with you. But here's an interesting complication. Another Talmudic sage, Rava, derives the inner logic of this phenomenon, that Mashiach will arrive when world governments will have become heretical, from the peculiar case of the Metzora, the one afflicted by God with a terrible skin condition. His whole body is covered with white patches, which render him ritually impure, until his entire epidermis has turned white, in which case he is pure.
Aha! You see, opiate of the masses. When the whole world has become heretical, God will save the day with his Messiah. Pure archi-optimistic opium.
Well, not so fast there, Tovarich. There's another way to understand Rava. His meaning may be that world governments have been heretical all along, and that this age-old heresy simply becomes obvious for the first time in light of the unprecedented degree of Torah consciousness. When the truth of the Torah becomes perfectly self-evident, when the teachers of Torah and the students of Torah have done their jobs so diligently, then any government that continues bullheadedly to resist the evidence is deemed heretical.
Because the truth has become so clear?
Because the truth of the Torah has become so clear.
Because the people see what is true.
They finally see every Torah-hating anti-Semitic government for what it is. Heretical.
And so the state simply withers away?
The heretical state withers away. That's nice. Is that yours?
Yeah, actually, it's Marx.
Groucho said that? That guy.
Yeah, no, Karl.
Ah, of course, Karl. I got mixed up. Never mind. You know there's a giant red flag behind you, right?
But then what is to be done with the great Messianic revolution?
Well, you see, if Rava is right, then there's really no need for such a revolution. Or at least the real revolution is one that takes place in the classroom where Torah is taught and learned. You know what Isaiah said, right?
Isaiah, the activist for socio-pedagogical political reform.
Isaiah envisioned a revolution in Torah education of such global scope that the whole earth will be filled with the knowledge of God like waters cover the sea.
An international revolution.
An international pedagogic revolution in which the godliness of all things becomes evident.
Учиться, учиться, учиться.
That flag, it's really...
Study, study, study. and all that opposes the Torah will simply wither away.
I really like that phrase. Heresy withers away.
If only all the Jews of the world would unite in a movement to study Torah. After all, they would have nothing to lose.
They'd have one thing to lose.
What?
Their chains.
Excellent. And that's going to take us to Rabbi Zusha. Here we go.
This past Shabbos, yesterday, we blessed the month of Iyar. Shabbos Vachim Chodesh Iyar. There is one mitzvah which goes through the entire month. Actually started still in the month of Nissan that we're in, continues into the month of Sivan, but the entire month of Iyar has one mitzvah. And that's the mitzvah. Which mitzvah is it? Sfiras Omer, the counting of the Omer. Thank you, Menachem. What is this mitzvah of counting of the Omer? What's the Omer? What is this? So you know what? Today I want to deal first with the basics, and then we're going to go into explanation of it. But before we go to the basics of the Omer, we have to go to the basics of saying thank you to Hashem. So I have with me today my lovely grandson from Argentina, Menachem, who is going to read for us, with us. We will join him in saying chapter 100, thanking Hashem for all the miracles. And I'm thanking Hashem also for having a Menachem. Menachem, go ahead.
דהו כי אדוני הוא אלוהים, הוא עשנו ולידחת בבצי בניסוי, בו ישר בסיידה חצי סביסילה, הידו לי, ברוך שבוי, כי תבע לי לא חסדי ועד מדי לבודסי.
Menachem, give some tzedakah, please. Shkoyach. Thank you so much, Menachem. What's the mitzvah of the Omer? In fact, the word Omer is a biblical measurement. And it's approximately 6.5 gallons of wheat. That's what it's approximately what it is. So we find in the Torah, in Leviticus chapter 23, where the Torah tells us, Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe le'emer, God speaks to Moshe Rabbeinu, Daber al bnei Yisrael v'marta aleim, Ki sovoyu el ha'oretz, when you will enter, you will come to the land of Israel. That asher ani noisen lechem, remember, I am the one to give it to you. God keeps on repeating. Remember, the land of Israel is yours because I, God, gave it to you. No Balfour, and no UN, and no this declaration, and no that declaration. It is ours because God gave it to us. And as such, nobody can take it away from us. And there says the Torah, then you will reap its harvest. So you should know, so you will be bringing the Omer, as I said, the measure, it's in a measurement, from the first of your reaping to the priest. In other words, when you start enjoying the fruit, you start enjoying the harvest, before anything else, you must give it to the Kohen. You bring it to the Beis HaMikdash, bring it as an offering to Hashem, and then you can enjoy it. And the Torah goes through details how it's going to be done. This whole process. In fact, Maimonides goes into details and tells that this is in Maimonides in Hilchos Tamidim u'Musafim, and chapter 7. He goes through a whole process, how they did it. Let me just read you a few words quickly. It says, Omer zeh min ha'sa'orim hoyaba. This Omer actually came from barley. The offering had to be from barley. Maimonides says in details, Omer zeh minam es-oirim hoyabo. This Omer, this measurement was from barley. And this was halacha l'Moshe Sinai. This was, it's not written in the Chumash, but it was transmitted from generation to generation, starting all the way back from Moshe Rabbeinu. People went out to the fields, the whole community, and they harvested, and they brought it, and they cut it, and then they brought it on the 16th day of the month of Nissan. In other words, the second day of Pesach. And that's when this was offered on the altar. Part of it was burnt, and the rest was given to the Kohanim to eat. But then the Torah continues. This was the mitzvah, the offering on Pesach. Then there is another offering. It says, "Asfartem lochem," you will count in Moches HaShabbos, miyayim aviyachem esoymarat nufa, from that day when you actually bought the first offering, 7 weeks. And then you're going to bring, you will be bringing 2 breads. But this time it was not from barley, but this time it was from fine flour. 2 breads, which was on the Yontiv of Shavuos. So between those 2 offerings, the offering of the Omer on the second day of Pesach and the offering of Shavuos, is what we have the Omer, Sephiras Omer, the counting of the Omer, which is the mitzvah that we have now. So is this connected to Pesach? Is it connected to Shavuos? Is it connected with those 2 holidays? And what's the idea of it? If God forbid tomorrow we're still in exile, we will discuss it further.
Fantastic. And now we go to Tehillim chapters 23 and 125.
מזמור לדוד, אדוני רואי, לא אחסר, בינוס תשע, ירביצני, על מי מנוחוס ינהלני, נפשי שובב, ינחני במעגלי צדק, למען שמו, גם כי לך בגיא צלמובס, לא ירא, כי אתה עמדי, שבטך ומשענתך, המה ינחמוני. תערוך לפניי שולחן נגד צורריי, תשענת בשמן ראשי, כוסי רוויה, אך טוב וחסד ירדפוני. כל ימי חיי ושבתי בביס אדוני לאורך ימים.
שיר המעלות הבטחים באדוני קראתי אלוהים עד לעולם ישב ירושלים הארץ סביב לו ואדוני סביב לעמוד ויעטו ביד עולם כי לא ינוח שבט הרשע על גורל הצדיקים למען לא ישלחו הצדיקים בעוולה ידיהם היטיבו אדוני לטובים ולישרים בליבו יצום והמשם הכל לא יצום ירליכם אדוני יספויה ליאהב שלום על ישראל.
All right, Pirkei Avos, we did chapter 1 this week. Did you enjoy it? It's a wonderful chapter. Now we're doing chapter 2. Let's learn the first Mishnah.
We're on Avot Perek Bet Mishnah Aleph, first Mishnah in the second chapter of Masechet Avot. We're now in Rebbe. Rebbe, as we've learned, is Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi, the son of Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel, the second Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel, and he was called Rebbe. And he was called Rebbe, the Kahati says, because he was considered just He was such a great sage that his name spread. He was the Rav of Am Yisrael. They also called him Rabbeinu HaKadosh, our holy rabbi. The Rambam writes about him. He was unique in his generation, ve'echad bizmano, and one in his time. Ish shenimtza bo kol hachamudot v'amidot hatovot. Someone who in him was found all of the beloved attributes and good midot, good behaviors. Ad shezacha behen ezel anshe dorlo dikroto Rabbeinu HaKadosh. The people of his generation called him Rabbeinu HaKadosh. They didn't need to name him. He was just Rabbi. In our generation, we don't have it today. But the generation before us, there were two people. One in Israel, Harav. He was just called Harav, Rav Kook. And the Rav Soloveitchik. You got to be pretty high to get to that level where they just call you the Rav. So Rebbe said, what is the straight path that a person yavor, that a person should choose for himself? It's very balanced. Something that is glorious for the performer of the path. It is also glorious in the eyes of mankind. Meaning it has to be good for you and good for everyone else as well. Which is it's very open to interpretation, but it's also it's very subjective. Like, in different generations, different generations will choose different attributes that they find glorious and impressive. Some generations will say, a person who studies on his own, stays by himself is very impressive. And others will say, no, that's not impressive. It's impressive to be out there with the people. So what is it? What are the? So it's open to so much interpretation. And I'll just share with you the Rambam and the Bar Tanura. The Rambam says, what is this? Okay. What is the straight path? These are the good actions that we chose. The average behaviors, ma'alot, attributes, the average attributes, the middle attributes. Because then you'll have this good attribute and also be good with the eyes of other people. Let's look at the Bar Tanura. It should be good for him. People will also be nochim mimenu, be impressed by him, be inspired by him. What is it? This is like the Rambam, the middle path. Don't go to extremes. Kilai means to gather to yourself. You hold on to money. You're too stingy. Now, it's not stingy to giving, but it's holding on to yourself. Yesh tiferet lo, it's good for you. Joseph Bamon Harbe. You got a lot of money. Other people are not so impressed when you when you keep the money to yourself. But if you give, the result is spread out. If you give too much, everybody else is very happy when they get your money. But it's not good for the person who performs the mitzvah, and it's not good for him. Because you'll bring yourself to poverty. Instead, be generous, and generous is good because you're not holding everything to yourself, but you're also giving to other people. Find that middle ground. That's tifered le'oseha, but tifered lo min ha'adam. It's got to be good for you, but also good for other people. And that's a good way of measuring yourself. If people think you're doing okay, you're probably doing okay. But if you don't think you're doing okay, then you're probably not doing okay. Be careful about a light mitzvah, like a chamor, like a strict, stringent mitzvah, important mitzvah. You have no idea what the reward is for mitzvah. We only know some. We know the Torah says you get long life for 2 mitzvot. Okay, but we have no idea. Those are teemingly very different mitzvot. We have no idea, okay, what the reward for mitzvot are. Okay, then he says something that seems to contradict. You should calculate the loss of a mitzvah corresponding to its reward. And calculate the reward for a sin connected opposite its loss. Meaning, if you have to contemplate, should I do a mitzvah or not? Okay, I'm going to watch a football game, or they want me to make a minyan. Calculate, is the loss of that mitzvah worth it? Or schar aveira, when I do this aveira, connected seidah, opposite its reward. The Rambam has a whole thing. We're not going to go into it, but he says you can sort of. It's a whole long thing, right? The different levels of different sins, madrega gedola, chayiv skila, etc., etc. But so the Rambam says you can sort of figure out, is this mitzvah worth doing or not? If it's a big mitzvah, Mila, Korban Pesach. But perhaps one could say, it's really interesting that Rabbi Yehuda is saying, You should know. We don't know. And therefore, you have no idea the value of the mitzvah. So now try to calculate the loss of a mitzvah. Okay, and try to calculate schar avera, what the word and everything. You have no idea what you're giving up when you say, yeah, okay, it's a little minor avera. You have no idea. Okay, because that's my interpretation. He knows, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi knew he was saying, okay, heavy vizayir, be very careful. And heavy machashev, okay, and then go ahead and try to calculate. You cannot. Finally, look at three things. Okay, and you won't come to sin. What are they? Okay, know what's above you. Okay, ayin ro'ah v'ozen shomat. Okay, what are the three things? Okay, one, there's a seeing eye. God sees all. Ozen shomat, God hears all. All of your actions are written in a book. Nowadays, it's really easy to understand, right? That, ayin ro'ah, the webcam is spying on you. Ozen shomat, Alexa is listening to you. Everything's being recorded. It's already recorded somewhere. We say actually, in the Tanakh, we say not only are your actions being recorded in the book of life, but your signature, your hand is signed. You've signed it. Nowadays, it's much easier to imagine that this camera that's looking at me, is another camera following me, and it's recording everything I do. And in the end of life, at the end, we're going to have to give a reckoning for the actions and the choices we make. All right, we'll stop here. Dedicate our learning to the memory of my father, Rav Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Have a good day.
All right. And now it's time for Tanya.
Tanya.
All right, here we go.
Tanya thoughts for the 23rd of Nissan. This is the section which the Rebbe particularly suggests that pre-bar mitzvah should study. To check in with Hashem throughout the day. Reaffirm your mission, first thing in the morning, before you start to study Torah, before you jump into the big, bad, dark world. And every once in a while during the day, check in. You check your phone every couple of minutes just in case you got an urgent email. Well, check in, think about Hashem and why I'm here, if just for a few moments, and it will last throughout the day. Tanya's thoughts for the 25th of Nissan. In the Rebbe's letters, everybody is addressed as Yisharei Elokim, to the one who reveres God. I think I may have gotten someone else's letter. How can everyone be addressed as one who reveres God?
All right. Sorry about that. I don't know how that happened. I'll have to research that. All right, Sefer Mitzvahs of the Rambam, class number 69.
Today's portion of the Rambam's Mishnah Torah talks about Hanukkah. It's not one of the 613 mitzvahs, but it is a rabbinical commandment. During the time of the Second Temple, King Antiochus, along with the Syrian and Greek Empire, sought to have the Jewish people forget their Torah and not fulfill their mitzvahs. To that end, they made many decrees banning certain areas of Jewish religion, and also defiled the temple and made it impure by bringing idolatrous statues and offering pigs on the altar, etc. The Maccabees won multiple battles against them in a miraculous victory, reclaimed the Holy Temple, and looked to kindle the menorah once again. However, no pure oil could be found. Only one jug of pure oil was found to last for 1 day. Miraculously, it lasted for 8 days, and from there we have the holiday of Hanukkah. The sages decreed that every year thereafter we should light our own menorahs, increasing the amount of lamps from 1 to 8 throughout the 8 days of Hanukkah. The Rambam also discusses today another mitzvah, mitzvah 213, the mitzvah to get married with Kiddushin, but that we'll discuss tomorrow.
Baruch Hashem, today is day number 69 of our daily study of Rambam Sefer Mitzvahs, and you get a mazel tov. Why? Because in the corresponding 3 chapters a day of Mishnah Torah, we're finishing a book, the book of Zmanim, of times. Remember, we started way back with the laws of Shabbos, and we studied all the different Jewish holidays. And finally, we got up to Hanukkah and Purim, which are the rabbinic holidays. And there are no mitzvahs that correspond, no biblical commandments that correspond to those rabbinic holidays. So that's that. And then we're starting Sefer Noshim, which is all about Jewish family life and marriage, with Hilchas Ishus, the laws of marriage. And corresponding to that, we have a mitzvah today, Positive Commandment 213. Positive Commandment 213 is based on the verse in Dvarim Chov Dalad Aleph. That's Deuteronomy 24:1. Ki yikach ish isha, when a man will acquire a wife. And we learned that this acquisition is affected in one of 3 ways. It is called Kiddushin, which literally means holiness, because it is a sacred acquisition. And it can be affected in one of 3 ways. Kesef shtar bia. Anyone who learned the tractate Kiddushin knows this right in the beginning. Kesef means money or an object of monetary value. The groom gives the bride something that has value. Our tradition customarily is a ring. Or shtar, which means the contract, a document. Or bia, which means marital intimacy. These 3 ways affect Kiddushin. Kiddushin is the first phase, often called betrothal, and it is followed by Nisuyin, which is the second phase. Nowadays, we do them together. There's no lag time between Kiddushin and Nisuyin. We do them both under the chuppah all at once, one right after the other. And we're going to be learning all about Jewish family life and marriage as we go through the mitzvahs that correspond to this book of the Rambam's Mishnah Torah, and learning the mitzvahs from the Rambam's Sefer HaMitzvahs. We'll see you, God willing, tomorrow.
Actually, we're going to add items of Mashiach now.
והוא גואלנו, והוא גואלנו, משיח צדקנו, הרבי מלובביץ' מלך המשיח, הרבי מלובביץ'.
All right. Just give me 1 second over here. Yes, perfect. All right. For the 25th day of Nissan, senseless hatred is derived from false beliefs. A person believes slander and lies about their fellow, and these affect them to the point that he hates them and wishes them dead. His fellow, in turn, believes the same things about him. Yet, if each would not believe the slander, the lashon hara, about their fellow, on the contrary, each would find that they seek the other's benefit, and by strengthening this belief in their hearts, they would become the best of friends. In Golus, in exile, we are plagued with false beliefs about our fellow man. We believe that that person is different from us, and we project negative intentions onto them. These beliefs lead to distrust, strife, and destruction. In many ways, these beliefs and feelings were and still are self-fulfilling prophecies. Harboring these thoughts creates the very forces that we fear. So therefore, how do we fix it? We combat these false beliefs and realize that in essence, we are all one. By uprooting senseless hatred, sinas chinam, and replacing it with avas chinam, senseless love, We uproot the cause of the exile, and automatically Geula will follow. Here's Shmuel Tzvi to tell us more. Hold on.
This collapse is a direct result of our forceful action against Hezbollah and Iran, Assad's main supporters. It set off a chain reaction of all those who want to free themselves from this tyranny and its suppression. But it also means we have to take action against possible threats. One of them is the collapse of the Separation of Forces Agreement from 1974 between Israel and Syria. This agreement held for 50 years. Last night it collapsed.
Indeed, this is a pivotal moment in history. Such a pivotal moment, the Midrash says in the name of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, listen to this one, that and this shall be a sign for you. When you see the fall of the eastern Nero of Damascus, all the dominion of the eastern peoples will collapse, and then the proper tranquility will come for Israel, and Israel shall flourish, and Mashiach, son of
Mashiach's waiting at the door. So let us greet him and come back home. Come back home. Finally home in the place where we belong. It's been so long that we've been gone, so lost and alone, scattered all across the globe. But now that we are back again, we beg you, please resume your throne. We're finally home.
Our minds sit nestled in a pocket of natural events, sewn with the thread of inexplicable miracles. The pocket protects us. Exposed to the raw light of those miracles, we would be paralyzed with awe and incapable of continuing with life. So it protects us. We like being protected. We live for being protected. Come talk to me about this on social media, any of the Actors Rabbis groups at Blue Sky Clubhouse, Discord, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Telegram, Twitter, WhatsApp, YouTube, or you can email me at theactorsrabbi@gmail.com. Go to theactorsrabbi.com to sign up for many of our services, including life coaching services, which you can avail yourselves of, and go to breakfastwithelli.live/mail, breakfastwithelli.live/mail, and sign up for our weekly Shabbos with Elli newsletter. It's got everything you need in it to continue learning with us on Shabbat. All right, let's make an after bracha. Baruch ato Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam boirei nefashos rabois v'chesronan al kol ma sheborasa lachayos boem nefesh kol chai baruch chai haolamim. I am so glad that you came to me today. Oh, here we go. I'm so glad that you came to me and we were able to learn. Thank you to my Patreon sponsors, Press for Riddle, Tarzan Orchid, Dina D Design, Bracha Bienerman, Reza Musavi, Wendy Cohen, Julie Haber, David Wetman, and our 2 anonymous donors. If you would like to become one of our donors, all you need to do is scan the QR code you are about to see on your screen when the computer decides to do it. Anytime now. It just wants to keep filling up that jar. Here we go. Scan the QR code. It'll take you to breakfastwithelli.live/support or to patreon.com/theactorsrabbi or our virtual tip jar at breakfastwithelli.live/tip-jar. Thank you so much. All right. We are in the 7 weeks, I'm sorry. We are in the weeks of Sephirah. So the Musikalisch Choir and Isaac Honig have Anna Melech. Yes, it is a vocal performance. No music. It's just being difficult. I'm sorry. All right. Thank you for being here. 25th day of Nissan. We are going to have a Rosh Chodesh this week. That's really cool. Shabbos is Rosh Chodesh, Friday and Shabbos. So, good Vach, Shavua Tov, a good week. Go out and do something nice, something good for someone today. In the words of Rav Isaac Hamler, have affection for a fellow. Hashem will have affection for you. Do a kindness for a fellow. Hashem will do a kindness for you. Draw a fellow close. Hashem will draw you close to him. Go out and make it a great and glorious day. Be the reason someone smiles. Shavua Tov, a good week. May it be filled with blessings and wonders like you've never seen before. Anna Melech. Enjoy.
HaYom Luchim Melech HaYom Luchim Tzavai leMalucher Yichum Malach HaYashurais Neshor Sayel Yoim Sheyiv Kedini Berachamim Tati yo 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 iberachamim Vivorchini bevoyom levaisi miyovoim kodshani sheyiv kedini berachamim Uyoy tati yo 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 Rachamim Vivorchini bevoyom levaisi miyovoim kodshayini